Alrighty-roo. Welcome, folks, back to the channel. It's your boy, the Angry Zach Man. Except today, like I said, I'm not really angry. I said this in pretty much every episode about this particular car and engine because look at the beauty that is this thing. I mean, this thing is brand spanking new. Oh, and it's not. There's a whole bunch of videos if you want to know how we got to this step. We're not going over this now. That's going to be too much. So I'll link the playlist with the videos under the video, this one, so you can check it out. There's a whole bunch of shit around this thing. But this particular video is going to be about hydraulic lifters. How to rebuild hydraulic lifters in a Mercedes. It's pretty much the same thing in almost all the older Mercedes. So you're gonna have to remove the timing, you know, all that crap. Again, I got a whole bunch of videos about that, so we're not getting into that now. Here's the lifters. Now, this particular car had a culprit lifter. Number one was cylinder 8 right here. You can see that bitch is fucked. This one's still holding. That one's not. So once you get to this step, you can replace them. I do actually have 3 spare lifters in here so I actually ordered 3 spare lifters from Mercedes directly just because, you know, in case those are like beyond repair, because they're not always repairable, but like I swear 70-80% of the time they are. I have lifters here, so if anything, you know, we got new lifters, but most of the time these things are repairable, and I want to show you all how to do it, or at least cleanable and serviceable, which in theory is what you probably should do. Uh-oh, hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, bless you. Why, thank you. In theory, you do this before they go bad, but, you know, how are you supposed to know? And also, who's going to do all this damn labor just as preventative maintenance? Because it's some labor to get here. But point being, we're going to clean all of these lifters and potentially replace those that are quote-unquote bad, which is this one, and I think this one or that one of those. But what I wanted to really show you all is, like I said, how to do this. And first things first, where most people fuck up, they take a magnet and they're gonna just pull these out with a magnet. So you can do that, but there's a danger of magnetizing these things, as in actually causing them to get a little bit of a polarity, and then they'll actually start attracting metal and stuff as the engine's running, which will only cause the wear to be faster. So the official Mercedes procedure is to grab a fucking valve lapper. Okay, you may be wondering, am I holding a drumstick? No, this is a valve lapper. And you're gonna take a valve lapper, suction that little bastard on there. You know, it's sometimes it doesn't want to stay, and that's okay. And then you're gonna pull the idiot out. And that is how you take one of these bastards out. GoPro battery died again, but anyhow, the actual cleaning steps. As you can see, I've actually already cleaned most of these. These two have been replaced just because even after cleaning, I couldn't really get those, the original lifters to kind of hold their size and whatnot, and I'll show you, and hold their structure and rigidity, and I'll show you all that in a second. But point is, that's how I think these things should be pulled out in order to minimize the possibility for any sort of potential hazards. Now, is it, you know, possible that the magnetization won't happen just from pulling a lifter out once? Yeah, sure, but you're gonna take that risk, be my guest. I'd rather not. So moving our way over here to the little workbench, which we are not gonna need this thing for now. We're gonna put that guy down. But yes, I have a bunch of cylinders here and stuff. Well, not a bunch, but a few. Anyway, moving on to the little workstation area here. Cleaning solutions. So here are the 2 bad lifters, and in fact this one is actually not that bad. It kind of does press down, but you don't want them to be like completely stuck closed. Now this one here that's been submerging, that motherfucker is like moving. So this is the really bad one that was also the one causing most of the tick for sure. So that's kind of the reason why these 2 are just being replaced. Anyway, you know, I already got some spare ones fresh from Mercedes, so I was like, you know what, we're not gonna risk this because I'm not trying to take that timing apart again in order to replace them later. But in terms of how to do it and what you're gonna need, there's many ways to clean them. That you can kind of, you know, I'll let you do that on your own. One thing to keep in mind though, this is bare metal, and if you clean it too well and get all the oiling off of it, it's gonna potentially rust. So this is why I don't like using too much degreasers and stuff on things like this, because then they're gonna leave the metal exposed, and then you have to really, really quickly cover it in some sort of oil. So the cheat code, not to mention it's a lot cheaper, is fucking diesel. Okay, I promise you it is not distilled water. But get you some diesel fuel, and you know, in general, gasoline is very, very good for cleaning things. It's also pretty cheap. I mean, $3 for a fucking gallon. But with diesel specifically, it has a bit of an oily residue, and that's what this is. This is my diesel cleaning cup, which, as you can tell, is already a little dirty. But
There's my diesel cleaning cup. There is my oiling cup. So this just basically has some oil in it. It's not the Bel-Ray. I've poured Motul in here. Basically the oil that's in that car anyway. So that's what's in here. But the procedure to do this is get a wooden block. You may want to put a paper towel over it because some oil is going to come out. And, you know, people can have grabbed these with pliers. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that. That's a little bit hardcore if you ask me. So the better way is to just beat it. And this will take a little bit, but, you know, you're going to be beating on it like this until it comes out. And it will come out. Don't worry, they're very stubborn, but they will come out. You might just have to do this 50 times or very hard. So this is essentially, I'm just going to verify that it's not, yeah, we didn't really beat up. You don't want to beat up this surface, which grinds in the valve, or this surface, which is actually going to be grinding inside. So this is essentially how the lifters are going to be disassembled and how they're designed. Here is your big old cup. There you're going to have a bunch of oil, which you can definitely start draining here because, you know, we're not going to need it. That's for sure. Now what I'd like to do now basically is we're going to dump this inside the diesel fuel, let it kind of dispense and clean up. You can tell once you clean a few lifters, that diesel gets pretty covered in oil, and then you kind of have to swap it out, to be honest. Oh, and it does also benefit to clean the inside of it. All right, so that's that. And again, the diesel fuel is going to leave a nice oily film, so it's not going to rust. Poured out that old shit because it's getting a little dirty. When I had a few lifters go through that thing, so every couple of lifters you're going to want to reset your cleaning station. And again, diesel fuel is just easiest because it's cheap, easy to get, and it's good, and it does leave an oily film. So, but now to move on to the main attraction here. This is the actual lifter mechanism, as you can see. And this is where things get very critical. You can basically just grab the two halves and pull it apart slowly, and you're definitely going to want to note the orientation. The orientation will be as so. There's going to be the bigger cup like this. Then you're going to have a larger spring. Then down here, you've basically got the piston assembly. And if you look right down there, there's a tiny ball. And then right here, there's a tiny little cup that will hold it in place. To be honest, even if you don't have fingernails, you can pretty much just grab this and pull on it, and you'll be able to pop it out. If anything, use a tiny pick tool to basically pry this out. And there you will see the ball. And do not forget, and this is what's very, very critical, there is a tiny spring right there, if y'all can see. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a literal tiny itty bitty spring. Of course, now the oil's got it all glued together, so it's going to be hard to even show y'all this, but here's my tiny little pick tool. There is this itty bitty right there. That, oh shit, believe it or not, that right there is a tiny little spring. Hopefully y'all can see that. And that is basically what actually kind of keeps the ball, you know, pushed down and valve closed, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to have the ball right there. Now there's a top side and a bottom side of the piston. Everything is going to go here on the top side later. But the point is, now you can pretty much take all of this crap and throw it into your little cleaning solution. And, you know, swirl it around a little bit. Again, you get things to start moving. Start cleaning the inside of it out too. You know, and again, do not use magnets. Like you'll see when I pull this out, I'm going to be pulling it out with my finger. This is just a dirty job, but I think the most proper way to do it is to do it this way, as in to not do it with a magnet. Would it be, I guess, a little faster and easier? Sure, but I don't think it's worth the risk, to be honest, of magnetizing these components and then having metal shavings and whatnot get stuck to them. And absolutely clean the seat here of this ball, because after all, this is essentially what makes a hydraulic lifter a lifter, is that ball sitting right there and sealing. This right here is essentially fucking, that little spring is annoying, but this right here, if the spring would come out, this is your lifter assembly. So this is basically how you rebuild hydraulic lifters. This is going to be, like I said, the bread and butter of everything. Now that you got everything cleaned, what you're going to want to do is take the big spring, put it inside the big cup. And the easiest way to do this, I think, is to just stack things. So essentially, take the little spring and put it inside the little sealing cup. You're going to want it, obviously, to sit properly. Kind of just tap it into place. Then grab that little ball and put the ball on top. Then you take the small side of the piston, flip it upside down because that's where the ball is actually sitting, and you're going to want to push it in place and make sure that that cap springs into place right there. Now you're good. Then you're going to take the small piston and the cap ball end side again and slide it, and this will be a perfectly tight machined fit. So you're gonna have to do this very straight, and you're gonna push it inside this thing. And that is how you do it. That's pretty much all it takes. Now comes the fun part of filling the lifter. So I like to pretty much fill the inside here with oil almost to the top. A little bit too much there. There we go. And then you're gonna wanna take a tiny pick tool or something and press the ball down as you press down the lifter, and you should actually see the oil level drop down. Once you see the oil level drop down, give it another little squirt in there. Again, you don't want to overfill the lifter, but you definitely want to fill it a little bit. And then same thing, push that ball down a little bit as you push down the lifter. And in theory, this will be good enough. You may have to do this a few times, but it's not the end of the world, even if you have to. Now, what I also like to do is squirt a little bit of oil inside there, just like that. Kind of get things to coat evenly. Same thing here on the outside. Squirt some oil all over everything. And then you basically take this lifter piece and and press it in to place. Okay. And okay, I see too much oil. Damn it. Yeah. So here's the thing. Now, if you did this properly, the thing will be pretty damn stiff, but you'll still be able to grab and actually turn the lifter. And we can't. This thing is way too damn stiff, so we put too much oil in, which basically means take it apart, do it again. And again, this is a tedious process. Like, that's just kind of how it is. You know, it's just a little tedious, and it'll take a little bit of time. Alrighty, so rebuilt that thing, and it's pretty much perfect now. As you can see, I can grab it with my finger and twist the actual outside lifter housing, cap, bucket, whatever. But the lifter assembly is still movable inside, and it is stiff. So this lifter is actually still good. I'm gonna redo that one again, and we'll see. And if anything, I'll keep these as spares, because I'm definitely gonna put the new ones in the car. Like, we don't want to risk it. But yeah, that's pretty much how you rebuild Mercedes lifters. And again, you're definitely gonna want to do this one by one. Is highly recommended. You know, the lifters, especially on a worn engine, they're gonna kind of wear in with the rest of the valve train in their specific little seat and spot. So it's definitely preferred to kind of keep them in the same orientation, if you will. You know, and in the same spot. That way you kind of just keep tolerances and all that shit at the same level.